What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Happy Monday, by the way, the start of the work week and all that. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend. I've had a little bit of an eventful past couple of days. My little kiddo has been sick the last couple of days, so it's always been challenging. And obviously I broke my finger, so that's also been challenging as well. But we do have some good news today, which is some Plarium news. Anyways, we're going to go over some news that they dropped for us, and we're going to go over some of the events that are currently active in game. Let's have a quick chat about it and see if they're actually worth doing. So let's jump right into it. All right, so here we go. We got the news drop here. It's going to be a progressive event starting tomorrow. It's going to last 48 hours. So the 2-day event for some extra boost on some champions here. Let's quickly go over the list of champions. Looks like the theme here will be dwarves. Let's hop into the dwarf faction here, and then one of the let's see, the headline champions, or not headline champions, but one of the champions that are up is Blacktusk, Admiral Blacktusk here. So he is the faction unity champion for the dwarves. Looks super cool, heavily armored and all that. Let's check out his kit here real quick. A1 has a chance to stun. This debuff cannot be resisted when attacking out of turn. So that basically means when he counterattacks or when he ally attacks, for example, with somebody else, it cannot be resisted. I mean, that's pretty nice. Otherwise, it's going to be a 60% chance, which is still okay as well. A2 removes all debuffs from all allies, so it's a cleanse. It's on a 3-turn cooldown, which is really good. And then he also has an ally attack on this move as well. So you got a 3-turn cleanse and ally attack. That's really, really strong. I think kind of on his own in terms of this kind of ability, a 3-turn ally attack, full team ally attack, by the way, with the cleanse. Very, very good ability. A3 here, another 3-turn ability here when fully booked, has a single target strip and then stun. So you need accuracy for all this stuff. And then it does a turn meter fill by 50% and an additional 10% for each buff removed. Now this ability seems pretty good. It's like a single target neutralize against one enemy. Let's see what else his unity bonus gives him. The buff removal and stun cannot be resisted. So this is really good. All it takes is one ally, and then he doesn't really need accuracy anymore. So that's really, really good. 2 allies gives him a reset of this ability when an enemy is killed while under stun placed by this champion. So it gives him a lot of control if your team is able to basically cycle through the kills on their team while they're stunned. Really strong. Again, 2 allies for this. 3 allies. Allies deal double damage to targets under stun. So obviously there's a lot of stun synergy here. But honestly, I think this one ally here is really good. Like, you just have one ally with this guy, and he doesn't need accuracy for his buff removal and stun. That's really strong. And of course, not being able to be resisted is also very, very strong. All right, so let's go to his passive here. Allies will counterattack whenever they lose 10% or more of their max HP for a single hit. Okay, this means that they're probably going to counterattack quite a lot. If there are multiple champions on his team, only one will activate, okay. If there's one faction ally, whenever an ally places a basically hard CC debuff, fills this champion's turn meter by 20%. Occurs once per skill. If there are multiple champions, blah, blah, blah. So 20% turn meter fill if anybody on your team can place any of that. Freeze is here. Yep, so Tormin would be a pretty good match with this guy. Whenever an ally is attacked, there's a 50% chance of placing decreased resistance and 30% decreased speed on the attacker for 1 turn. If the ally is under block damage, unkillable ally protection stone skin, the chance increases to 100%. If there are multiple champions on, like, so if your team has somebody in stone skin, gets attacked, then decreased resistance and decreased speed comes down. The thing is with this one, it's like you don't really need decreased resistance because he's going to get the bonus here, right? He's going to get the irresistible bonus here. So this would this kind of debuff, decreased resistance, would help the rest of your team land debuffs, I guess. But it also makes him a bit of a sheep magnet if you're like landing all these debuffs, I guess. But yeah, so that's just something to, be aware of. 3 faction allies at the start of each round, place a stone skin on all allies for 1 turn. Holy, this sounds freaking nuts. This basically just means that you don't need to gear your team in stone skin to start the match. So you have a lot of build flexibility here. You have to put him with 3 dwarves, but you have a lot of build flexibility here. You also get the immediate bonus of this, right? So you get the stone skin on your whole team without having stone skin. And then you get the bonus here. You get the decreased resistance, decreased speed ability here. I mean, dude, this guy is insane for any kind of like newer game account because he would just instantly give you a bunch of gear, right? Instantly give you a bunch of gear. Basically, if you don't have stone skin, he instantly gives you a bunch of stone skin on your team. Very, very strong champion. Accuracy in all battles, and then plus speed for dwarves. Good base stats overall, no complaints. Yeah, great champion, good kind of faction support champion. Very annoying, irresistible stun and strip here, so it's very hard to avoid this. Great champ. Let's move on to the next progressive boost here. We got Goffred. So Goffred here, very good champion. One of the better champions in the game where you don't actually have to book him out for him to be super useful. He's got an A1 double hit, decreased defense, and provoke. He's also got an AoE stun here on a 3-turn cooldown. Very useful. And then he's got a 3-turn increased defense with a soft cleanse here to remove decreased defense and weaken. Not the most insane A3, but it's still a little bit useful. His best thing about his kit is that his passive here, more notably his active effect. Basically, if an ally is killed by a fatal hit, blocks incoming damage and places a block of damage on them for 1 turn. So he effectively just protects 1 champion on your team 1 time. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, so it's not going to happen all the time, but the first kill this does protect. And then he has a cheeky passive effect here that will stun the attacker of the champion that is basically kept alive. You can just use him just for this active effect, like 1 time as like a go second option. Obviously, like having things like stone skin will definitely help as well. But yeah, block damage here, very, very useful for him. Overall, he has a good kit overall. I do use him a little bit in my tag team arena and some of my siege defenses. He's a good champion overall. Moving on here, the next dwarf progressive legendary is Underpriest Brogni. So he's going to be boosted as well. One of the old goats that everybody was super, super hyped about. I mean, he's still a great champion, and I don't think he's aged that badly. He has a great A1, HP burn against bosses, does a lot of damage. His A2 grows shields, also has a chance to strip a little bit of buffs or remove random debuff from all allies, and strip buffs here. And then his A3, probably the best thing about him, block debuffs, increase attack and a shield on a 3-turn cooldown. His A2 grows his shield, but it's based on attack. And his base attack is really, really low. So if you can get him to pump damage, then he can grow the shield a lot. But if you can't, then he's not going to be able to grow the shield that much. It's kind of interesting, like the way they designed it. It's very difficult to gear him because he requires accuracy, attack, HP for shield scaling, and accuracy for the HP burn. It's really, really tough. His passive here does deal a little bit of reflect damage as well. It still turns out that this deals quite a bit of damage, so you can definitely gear him out in for a clan boss, for example, and this could be like a big source of damage for you. So this passive is still very, very good. Resistance in Doom Tower only. Good base stats overall. Still a pretty good carry throughout the entire game with this 3-turn block debuffs and shields. Still a good champion. Let's move on to Hurndig. Hurndig here. So Hurndig was I think, Valentine or February, fusion way back in the day. At least, I would say 3 years. I would say maybe in 4 years. I don't remember. 3 years, I'd say. Good champion overall. He doesn't hit super hard, mainly because they gave him pretty low base attack. But his A3 here, his single target actually hits really, really good. So it's a single target hit. It fully depletes the target's turn meter. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, and yeah, it does hit pretty good. He also has some added utility with his AoE slam here, placing decreased defense and decreased accuracy. I mean, yeah, you could use him as a decreased defense champion, but he actually hits okay. Like his A1 hits okay, but his AoE doesn't hit hard enough. And his A3 single target hits pretty good. Main use for this guy, I think, over the years has been Dark Fae. Obviously, the turn meter drop is really good against Dark Fae, so people do use him as the kind of like their damage dealer against Dark Fae. Obviously, with the introduction of like Newt and stuff, Dark Fae has been a little bit easier since Newt is so insane. But Hurndig is still very solid. If you need kind of like a generalist utility DPS champion, I guess. He does deal a little bit of DPS. Well, I mean, you could gear him to do a lot of DPS, but he does have other utility in his kit as well. All right, last but not least, for the non-voids, you got Keeyra. Keeyra. Yeah, Keeyra. She's one of the pieces for the Mikage fusion. She's a decent champion, but I think her main role is going to be just general support for your team or clan boss, right? So you got an A1 decreased attack. That's very good against clan boss, of course. A1 decreased attack. And then you got an AoE here. You got a decreased duration of all enemy buffs. And then a chance to place decreased accuracy on a 3-turn. This is not anything too insane. Maybe if she had also increased ally buffs, that would be pretty good. But this is not an insane move at all. And then I think the best thing about her is her A3, 3-turn ally protection, increased defense, which is very good against clan boss, especially if you're just trying to progress a little bit. And then a extra passive here that places decreased attack. So decreased attack is very important against clan boss, obviously. So having an A1 and a passive apply it means that it's going to be applied to the clan boss very consistently. So she's very good there. But otherwise, you would just use her for the Mikage fusion, and then you're done with her. Let's move on to the Void champions up for grabs here. So the first one, and the biggest prize here would be Senna Amberheart. So Amberheart here is part of the craziest teams for the Chimera boss right now. She gives a ton of turn meter boosting with her continuous heals, popping off, and then boosting up your entire team. Speed in all battles here. She also brings a revive. And she also brings increased speed here and turn meter boost. She brings a lot of turn meter, a lot of extra turns for your team against the Chimera, which means your team's going to be doing a lot more damage against the Chimera. Yeah, she's a great champ, and yeah, I'm glad that she's getting a lot of spotlight right now with the Chimera boss. Being a Void Lego and being how strong she is for that makes her, potentially kind of, sad or bad for people that don't have her, but it's nice to see that a good champion gets a little bit of a spotlight in an area that is new, and people are very looking for this champion, right? So that's a good thing, and that means if you have her in the vault or something, then take her out and she's going to be very good for you. Good stats in good stats everywhere. You got speed in all battles and an insane base speed here, 113 going in. Yeah, good champ. Looking forward to not getting her, but if you guys got her, then congratulations. Up next we have Tormin. So Tormin here, he's like Christmas for a Titan event like last year or something. Christmas Titan event champion. We also had him for a fusion many years ago. This guy's been nerfed many times. He was a meta changer for the arena back in the day. Still pretty good now. I mean, you still can pick him in live arena and he can still do pretty good. Obviously with stone skin and stuff in the live arena, in the arena meta, hard to use him to his full effect, but he still has a good kit overall. He can hit decent as well if you gear him out to do damage. Tons of CC, you can gear him up to do damage, or you can gear him out to be a complete pest. Give him fearsome presence with like a stun set or something. And yeah, he can really just pop off and be just super annoying and just crowd control you to death. But so yeah, he's up for grabs, and the last Void up for grab is going to be pretty new dwarf here, Arnorn the Shining. I had a chance to play test this guy, and this guy is a awesome champion. He's super fun to play against, or not play against, play with. Okay, let's go over his kit here. He's very new, so you guys probably haven't seen him before, but his A1 has a double hit. Damage increases 5% for each buff on the target. So you're attacking into a champion with buffs. He has a chance to place stuns. It's going to be 50% chance with a double hit, which means it's about 75% chance to land, which is really good. Great A1. After that, we got an A2 here. We got 3-turn cooldown, single target double hit. The damage inflicted by the skill increases by 10% for each 10% HP this champion has lost. So similar kind of effect to like Leorius, for example, where he gets stronger with less HP. If the target is under 2 or more buffs, we'll ignore 35% of the target's defense. This is a sizable amount of ignore defense baked into the kit. 2 or more buffs, I mean, seemingly is not too hard to hit the condition. So this potentially could be a massive slam, right? Grants an extra turn if it kills an enemy. So you can really set this up to do devastating amounts of damage and then into an extra turn on its A2. And then he has an A3 here on a 4-turn cooldown. It's an AoE, ignore, increase defense, strengthen, and shield. If this attack kills an enemy, decrease the turn meter of all enemies by 50%. It cannot be resisted. So you technically don't need to build him out with accuracy because you don't care about the stun here. I mean, it's good. You don't need it, so you don't need to build accuracy for it. And here, right, you don't need accuracy to do this turn meter drop if he kills somebody. So my suggestion is to fully build him out without consideration for accuracy so that he can hit as hard as possible so he can actually kill stuff with his A2 and A3. If he does, then you're going to get some benefit from it. No ignore stone skin baked into his kit, which is probably the negative, but he's got some really nice abilities here, and he hits super hard. Some extra ignore defense on his A3 would have been nice, but it's asking a lot already. His kit is pretty insane. Best thing about him is probably his passive here. He's got a passive effect that increases this champion's attack by 5% for each active buff on the enemy team, stacks up to 100%. So this is actually on their whole team. So for example, if you're up against Sifi, for example, Sifi uses her A2 and buffs up the whole team. That's already plus 12 buffs. Plus 12 buffs, you're already getting 60% extra attack right off the gate. And it's a passive effect, so it's always on. He has an active effect here, which is really, really good. Probably makes him super viable in live arena, for example. Any damage dealer that has an ability to stay alive is really high value, I think. To prevent this champion's death and keep them at 1 HP when they're hit by a fatal hit, places a stone skin on them for 1 turn, then instantly activates Wrath of Rothline, sorry. But it's basically his A3. So if he dies, he comes back in with stone skin, and then he's going to instantly use his A3. So if he kills somebody with his A3, it pushes back to turn meter, which basically really helps your team recover. And of course, it's a bit surprising, right? Like you can hit this guy's alive, and then he comes in right away with his A3, pushes back turn meter, and then maybe he gets the turn before you. And, you know, he's going to come back in with his A2, smack you up a little bit, you know, like. So he is very interesting. I mean, I would, you know, if I had him, I would definitely gear him out and use him. He's very, very strong. And he's super fun to play with. Great base attack to start, 1586. So they didn't go light on his attack here. He's a void champion as well. So that's what we want to see for a damage dealer as well. Amazing, amazing champion. As for the the epic dwarves, we actually have some pretty good champions here. We got Geomancer up for grabs, as well as Isabel, which is a piece for the Makage fusion. So if you're after her as well, it's going to be good. Got the Mytha here as well, Gala long braids, and then Cornelia to round out the epics. So that's the summon event that's going to happen for the next 2 days. Now, the weird thing about this event that's happening is that they actually don't have an event to go alongside it. And it's just kind of a, you know, it's kind of just like a progressive event just in the air, right? Because right now there's going to be nothing to go alongside the progressive event. So pulling shards is definitely not something I would recommend. You know, obviously for progressive events, the odds of pulling whatever champion you're looking for is very, very low. There is a Brave Deck of Fate that's just popped up, and this is going to be to win the Knave of Hearts. The Knave of Hearts is another champion here. He's going to be a part of a guarantee, but the Brave Deck of Fate is actually not going to include summoning at all. So if you want to check out the calendar here, you can take a quick look at the Brave Deck of Fate. So you can earn this champion from Fragment, and it's a guaranteed champion. That's great, right? Deck of Fate. This Brave Warrior is all around fantastic support unit, blah, blah, blah. Get points by summoning souls from soul stones and getting artifacts and accessories. Now, we don't know the point breakdown or anything like that, but I can tell you right now that this thing is not going to be easy to get. So you're going to be spending a ton of energy doing dungeon diving, or you're going to be spending a lot of souls, right? And usually the small souls don't give you much points. It's going to be big souls. Do you have a lot of big souls to spend for this champion? I mean, personally speaking, let's see how much I have. 40. So I have about 70. I have about 70. Like, I don't have enough to do it with souls alone. So I would have to spend, you know, energy to do it. He is not a great champion. Like, I played with him a little bit, but honestly, I didn't feel compelled to make a video on him. I think he was very average. He does have a cool A3. Sorry, I'm just looking for him right now. He's undead. Sorry, that was what he was. So the Knave of Hearts, right? So we can quickly go over his kit here. Is an A1 double hit provoke. I mean, it has a heal as well. It's not a big deal or anything like that. It's a 50% chance times 2, so 75% chance. And then he has an A2 here. It's an AoE. There's a chance to steal, so that's pretty cool. I like this. Chance to steal here on a 3-turn cooldown. And then he places continuous heals and also places unkillable and taunt on this champion. This is a good move. This is a good move. Good move. It's a, it kind of neutralizes the enemy and it gives your team a chance to stabilize with his unkillable and taunt on himself. This is a good move. It's not a bad move at all. It's a very good move. And he has a very interesting A3 here, which has a kind of enemy swap ability, swap HP, and then place a heal reduction. So you swap with a enemy, place the heal reduction on them, and then they're basically neutralized, right? So you don't have, they can't heal or anything like that. They have to remove it. But in this case, they can't actually remove, transfer, or decrease the duration of it. So it's a very, very strong heal reduction. You could use this against Amius, for example, which is actually pretty interesting. It's also a big team heal and then a increased defense as well. In terms of his passive here, at the start of this champion's turn, restore this champion's destroy max HP. When attacked, destroy attacker's max HP by 20% of the damage received. This is not super crazy, but it could be useful against something like Scarab, like Scarab King, which basically having max HP damage against it is very good. Knave of Hearts, he's not a bad champion. He's a good, decent champion, especially his A2, very strong, 3-turn cooldown and all that, steal, unkillable, and then taunt. And then, of course, this heal reduction and HP swap is very cool. You can definitely just crush Amius with this ability. Decent base stats overall. Is he really worth the investment? It's going to be, like I said, Soulstone and Dungeon Diving. So it's pretty, it's pretty heavy in terms of probably what you need. Right now, we don't know, but when it pops, I'll definitely do a quick review on it for you guys. And the problem with these Deck of Fates is that it's very all or nothing. All or nothing meaning you basically need to have enough to complete the Deck of Fate to get all the pieces for him, so that you can get him if you really want him, right? Otherwise, you're just hoping that you get all the pieces of him before running out of points. Personally, I don't like saying no to guarantees just because that's kind of what I play the game for. Like if I have the resources and I have the time, I'd probably try to allocate enough to try to get the guarantees. But the structure of this is going to be difficult, like really difficult. I would have preferred having a summon event for it as well. So basically you can kind of exchange shards for a legendary champion. And I was hoping that this would, the guaranteed Deck of Fate would have been maybe like the cat or maybe like the queen. That would have been cool. And, of course, when they released the set of champions for the Alice event, I was like, oh, the Knave is probably going to be the guarantee because he's the weakest one. But, he's not really super weak. Like, he's fine, but he's the weakest one of the group, right? That is, obtainable. So, unfortunately, he is going to be the guarantee here, and it's not going to be an easy one, that's for sure. But we'll talk more about that when it pops. We do also have a summon pool event here with the boosted rate for Lozen Cleth. I have this champion. I haven't actually used him yet. I have this champion on my other account. He has this really cool ability here, Spirit Calculus. It's such a cool ability. 5-turn cooldown. So the HP levels of all allies will be brought up to the level of the ally with the highest HP. So it's like a team-wide heal. And then the turn meter also gets brought up too. So it's actually very, very strong. This is, I believe, corrected recently because he was doing some crazy things against Hydra in the beginning. But not only does it bring up your whole team's HP and turn meter, it reduces the enemies to the lowest HP and the lowest turn meter. So yeah, it's really cool. It's a little bit complicated to use, I would think, in the perfect scenario. I see this as an absolutely devastating ability. There's an A3 here that transfer all debuffs to one target and then heals this champion by all the debuffs that get transferred. So the big heal, single target. And he always uses this when counterattacking. His faction unity bonus here, before attacking, always remove all buffs from the target enemy. This effect cannot be resisted. So you just need one ally, and then now he doesn't need accuracy for the transfer. With 2 allies, he will attack all remaining enemies with less than 30% HP. This attack will ignore 100% of each target's defense and cannot be critical. It's very interesting. Two faction ally bonus here. Going to be doing lots of damage if he meets these conditions. This skill does 100% more damage to enemies who have attacked this champion before this turn, so with 3 allies. he gets a big boost here. Yeah, I mean, he's an interesting champion. He's supposed to be a big crazy damage dealer, bringing some CC in his kit as well, and a lot of ignore defense effects. Actually, this is one of his crazy abilities here, is his ignore defense effect against this champion decreased by 100%. So Harima has a team-wide bonus of 50% reduction. He has a single just for himself 100% reduction. So it's gonna be really hard to kill this guy without the ignore defense boost. And he's packing a bunch of CC as well. He's bringing irresistible fear and he's giving himself instant turns. He's a very cool champion, I think. I'm definitely gonna try to put him together. Knight Revs is overall a pretty strong faction, so putting him together with Narcissus and Korra, that kind of team should be pretty strong, especially if you have Krixia. So you have Krixia and Korra, Narcissus, and now Losen can be very good. The other champions here are decent. We have Gaeth here. Gaeth is supposed to be a damage dealer, I guess, but she doesn't hit super hard, but she does have a 3-turn extension here, which is pretty good. She also brings 4 buffs here on her A3, which can be good for like Hydra in a protection set, for example. We do have Ankora here for the secondary champion. Good champion overall, obviously better with the partner bonus. Great revive, giving the cooldown reset on your champion that you revived. Speed in all ores battle. Cavillac speed in all ores battle here. Passive poisons on everybody right away, so you don't even need books for this to happen. And then he brings a AoE max HP slam. This one doesn't hit super hard, so it's kind of hard to gear him out for that. He does place a little bit of poisons, continuous heals. And then you have a Theodore here, great for soloing, hard dragon mode. Otherwise, yeah, he's just a great solo champion, to be honest. Like doing a lot of the content, he solos normal ice golem and then hard dragon very easily. He's bringing decreased speed, also brings increased speed for himself, poisons, and then also brings a weaken as well. Still a good champion, still makes pretty good clear times by himself. Overall, a little bit of a smaller pool here, so the chances of you getting one of these champions are pretty high if you pull one of them. Legendary from the shard. Looks like the rates are the same as always, that they've left it here for a little bit, 6 and 94. And then the summon price is 40. So I'll get one automatic pull here for the for this pool. Make sure you guys pull during the champion chase, guys. It's going to be this weekend. It's going to line up perfectly, so don't buy Prism shards and pull them now. Make sure you pull them during the champion chase. Personally, I'll probably be skipping the pool here. It's just not a big draw for me myself. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys found it informative. Like I said, we got a 48-hour progressive event, but there's no shard summoning events happening right now. There's no CBC, no anything. So I would definitely just sit on my hands and do nothing in terms of pulling shards. That was the plan overall for me anyways. We do have this Brave Deck of Fate coming, and it's going to be, Soul Stones and Dungeon Diving. So very likely it's going to be very expensive, but at the end of the day, Dungeon Diving is just the energy sink. Also, the Queen's Fury dungeon will be open, so at least you can farm the Queen's Fury while getting, Dungeon Diving points towards the Brave Deck of Fate. Keep in mind, there's no boost on Soul Stones or anything like that, so if you're looking to pull Soul Stones, just, expect normal rates when pulling. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys have a great Monday and great week set up for you guys. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are planning to do or any of this is interesting to you. And once again, have a great day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.